Welcome back, everybody. Another fantastic edition, the Purple Menace podcast. Geoff Craig, Billy Wessels, Matt Jennings. We're all here again, doing this thing, talking TCU football.
It's going to be a fun day. We've got a lot to talk about today.
TCU football and TCU not football will be today as well.
A little bit of extracurricular things to talk about.
Yeah, today we're definitely going to cover that. So, if you didn't know, there's been some TCU football players in the news. We will touch on that later. We're going to talk about the SMU game, and we're also going to talk about their upcoming road test as they travel to Lubbock this Saturday to take on the Texas Tech, the 3-0 Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Kudos to them.
No, I mean, I actually am impressed with what they're doing.
Guns
this
up.
Year. They're a quality team apparently this year, and they're making some waves. I mean, they beat Arkansas. I mean,
I think Mahomes is fantastic.
It took Toledo to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And I was waiting. I was like, "There's a dig coming here somewhere." No. Texas Tech has looked good this year. I mean, even if Arkansas maybe was a little bit overrated to start the season, going on the road to beat an SEC
team was overrated.
But going on the road to beat an SEC team,
no, it's still not.
Is difficult. It's
a tall task.
Yeah,
it's a tall task.
Fayetteville's not an easy place to play.
It's not.
No,
it's not. Even when they're not good, they still pack that place.
You know how much of my dad's side of the family was at that game and how much trash I wanted to talk on Facebook about them, but I chose not to.
So you're going to wait till today?
Well, they don't listen. If you think they have an iPhone in Arkansas yet, you're insane. They're still using those flip bad boys, those mobile razors.
Oh, nice. They got the sidekicks.
Yep, it's like pagers. I think they just figured out how pagers work in Arkansas.
They have a Palm
I'm just
Pilot?
making fun of the entire state of Arkansas at this point. Mostly my family, but pretty much
we're gonna lose 1% of our demographic.
No. So we'll have zero demographic at this point.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
what if we were insanely popular in Arkansas and not very popular anywhere else?
Well, okay. Maybe they just dig your kind of humor. I know we're insanely popular in Monroe, Louisiana because of Fanboat Willie.
Fanboat Willie love the podcast.
Yeah, that and there's so many players on TCU's roster from Monroe that we probably get at least one.
Got to.
At least one.
Turpin family.
Turpin, McFarland.
Terrell Lathan, Chucky Hunter, former player, lots of guys.
Yeah.
Connor Osborne.
Sure. That sounds like a real person. No, we know he is.
I can't confirm.
I met him at the spring game last year. Yes, he's a good person.
Okay, so yeah, see, we just completely off topic right now. This is fantastic.
Great start.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to recap the SMU game and we're going to talk about yet another devastating injury to the Frogs defense here on the Purple Menace podcast.
A message from former Presidents Bush and Clinton.
Hurricane Katrina revealed both the generosity of the American people and the resiliency of American business.
If you're a small business owner, it's essential to you and your community to get up and running quickly after any disaster.
We urge you to visit ready.gov for free tools to help create an affordable emergency preparedness plan.
Because the faster you're back in business, the better for all of us.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Ad Council, and this station.
Yeah, we're back. Purple Menace podcast. Geoff Craig, Matt Jennings, Billy Wessels. All right, let's talk about SMU.
Willie appreciates you dropping the Bush and Clinton
Hurricane Katrina. That was totally by accident. I just reached over here and pushed the first PSA button that I could find.
Well timed.
Well, hey, it's like every week when I pick my player prediction, it's just subconsciously somehow it works.
Yeah, by you walking by the player, osmosisly you pick them.
Yeah, I'm not picking Desmond White this week.
No.
Though.
What about? I'm pretty sure we saw Turpin. I'm still 90% sure that kid was Turpin.
Okay, maybe it was.
You should learn what people look like without their helmets on.
Or jerseys on. But it was a fleeting glance at the back of his head. Honestly, if I got that right from the back of his head, from his hairstyle, that's kudos to me. He's got the tall hair.
I'll find the headshot.
All
right, SMU. Now, last week, our predictions. We're not normally going to talk about predictions this early, but just our predictions, we all predicted TCU to score at least 50-some-odd points. That happened, but we were all way off on what we thought SMU would do.
Yeah, they were able to move the ball a little bit better with all the injuries and personnel losses for TCU on defense. And TCU looked like they were going to run away when it was about like 42-17, and then SMU goes on like a 20-0 run, and everyone says, and the air comes out of the stadium a little bit. You're like, oh,
their line was better than I thought. Their offensive line was better than I thought. They still ended up giving up. I think it was 4.5 or 5 sacks in the game, but it was most of them were late in that game. Their line was they know what they're supposed to do. They make a pocket and then let Matt Davis scramble. I mean, TCU does a similar thing. You just try to keep the bubble around and then let the quarterback use his legs if he needs to.
I mean, honestly, what I think might have happened, especially those obviously a great performance at SMU, take nothing away from them, but I think the defense was so. I think their head got down after Ranthony went out.
Oh yeah,
I just think they were like, not again, just another guy that we lean on that we expect to play every single game and make big plays. Is just gone. What do we even do? What's the point? I'm not saying they said what's the point, but they had a big lead. Maybe they relaxed a little bit, and they were also just focused on their guy that was down. Just another one gone. Next man up, I guess. But it's just, if I had to explain it in, I don't know, a mental thing, because I think that was a really mental game against SMU versus them being outplayed a lot. Although I love Cortland Sutton, I went on Twitter so many times how much I love that kid. But I think TCU kind of got in their own heads about the second half of that game, and then the offense finally was able to carry the defense in the last couple minutes to get the win.
Some of it, too, is how TCU plays their corners with a field corner and a boundary corner. Mosley started the game, but then you had Nick Orr, who had started at safety in the game, had to switch over, and now he had been playing the opposite corner the previous 2 games. So you had at least one of those guys. I don't know if they flip-flopped Mosley or now they started doing matchups. I have to go back and really, really watch. But one of those guys was playing the opposite corner than what he'd been working at all fall and the previous game. So that could have been part of it too. And then, like you said, Cortland Sutton, 6'4", 215 pounds?
Dude's a beast. Just an absolute beast.
All of our corners are pretty small. And
yeah.
So he made great catches. I'm not taking it. He made Josh Doxson-like catches. And it was fun to watch. It makes me happy for the rivalry.
But it makes me wish that Cortland Sutton was on this team as well. Could you imagine this offense with him and Dotson out there and Listenby?
It may be too good. You can have too much of a good thing.
That's not true.
No.
Yes, you can. It's called diabetes.
I was going to make a chocolate cake joke and getting fat, but you were much more concise in your joke, and I'm proud of you for it. You're
Billy's
learning
allowed
from me a little bit.
And Billy's allowed to make fat jokes.
I can make all the fat jokes I want. I've earned that right.
So Ranthony Tejada is done for the year. Have we officially gotten whether it was an ACL or an MCL or anything? We know it's a knee.
It's a knee injury. We don't know. There's been nothing said publicly about what it is. I would think for it to be a year-ending injury, and I heard the other day on campus that he would expect to come back sometime like next summer.
That's an ACL.
That's an ACL. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
You say that, but then everyone's clamoring about Deontay Gray not coming back after 6 months from an ACL injury. I mean, I'm just saying it's. I guess I don't realize how calendars work, and it might be closer to summer than it is. But I do think that even as I'm just trying to say Gray shouldn't be rushed back. I know it's totally off topic. But
no, I agree.
But and I think it's just Ranthony, whatever it is, ACL, MCL, PCL. I don't know any more ligaments there are in there.
Sucks.
Meniscus. But either way, it sucks, and you don't need to rush him back this year anyway. Just at this point, just take it easy. Come back next year a little bit stronger, a little bit maybe not faster. I don't know. It's about getting that confidence back in his leg, which he'll get back hopefully. And when he comes back for maybe late spring ball, summer workouts, and in the fall, he'll get that confidence up.
And when we talk about corners, now late in that game, remember SMU was making a push, and then at the very end, Nick Orr stepped up again.
Yeah, and Orr's been a baller this year.
If they could clone him and just have him play both corner positions and free safety, they'd be in really, really good shape.
But if we could clone people, we'd have a team of Jason Verretts.
That's true.
Or Trevon Boykins, as GP said 100 times in press conferences the last 2 years. If we had 100 Trevon Boykins, we win every game.
Now, the thing about Orr is, the Tejada injury hurts you, but you can argue that maybe Nick Orr had been playing better coverage to that point. At least in my estimation.
And that goes into the field versus boundary corner, the type of matchups.
Right. Now,
but then you have Tejada and Orr starting, which is really good.
And now you don't have either of them because Orr has to play free safety because Derek Kindred has to play weak safety because Kenny Aluka is out. And it's the domino effect. It's just every injury kind of brings up a new kind of personnel and starting lineup issue. They haven't been able to put the same starting lineup out there 2 weeks in a row yet this season. And I think that's really, really hurt them in terms of your first month of the season going through non-conference play. establishing some continuity, getting some chemistry together, and actually playing full games together. This team has not been able to do that once this season, and it has really, really hurt them.
Well, you look at I can talk all day about rankings and how they don't matter, but I think this will be the fourth different TCU team we've seen. I know the lineup says one thing or another, but just the totally mentality of where the team's at from week 1 going to Minnesota and we got to prove this ranking right, to week 2 losing both your starting linebackers and totally new defense there, to week 3 now we lost a cornerback and we're home and we're playing a rivalry
and a defensive
game.
end.
Every game has got a whole different little message, and now we're kind of getting to a fourth different version of this team that maybe it's good enough to earn that number 2 or 3 ranking. Maybe it's good enough to win the Big 12 again. We don't know. We'll find out, I guess, in about 4 days.
Yeah, and Patterson said today, no Terrell Latham this week. Didn't say past that, but he said no Terrell Latham this week, which hurts because you like having a 6'5", 280-pound defensive end. So look for a lot more Bryson Henderson, who played pretty well.
Josh Caraway played really well against SMU.
Josh Caraway played really well.
2.5 sacks.
You're going to see probably a lot. Aaron Curry and Chris Bradley been playing a lot. Davion Pearson hopefully gets on the field at least a little just to give you something, just to give some of those other guys a break.
Yeah.
Tipa Galea has been playing.
That's been your boy.
He's
been
really
all about
impressed
him.
me. He's really impressed me. I like him coming off the edge. So we'll hit more on the defensive line and all that when we talk Tech. But coming up next, we are going to talk about what just happened at the Gary Patterson press conference because it was amazing. I've never been that emotionally invested in a Patterson press conference ever.
No, normally we're going to sit here, we're talk for 25 minutes, and it's real boring coach speak. And then this is a chance for him. He kind of flew off the cuff, kind of on his own, really unprompted. Totally unprompted about the whole situation down at Baylor versus what's going on up here. And then just kind of just everything.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that next on the Purple Menace podcast.
Ever think what would happen if you played the violin with a banana? Basically, it would be terrible. But eating fruits packed with potassium and other nutrients could help your muscles work better for you, which is great for playing the violin or anything else you want to play. Run, throw, think, and eat better. Can your food do that? Find out at smallstep.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Ad Council, and KTCU.
And we're back. Purple Menace podcast. Matt Jennings, Billy Wessels, Geoff Craig. Talking TCU football. Now, we just left. It is Tuesday afternoon. We just left Coach Patterson's weekly press conference, which, Billy, you were just saying. These are usually pretty boring.
Usually real boring. I mean, I relish the opportunity to sit next to Patterson and all the other esteemed writers that we have covering the team. But normally it's just yada, yada, yada. We're excited to play this team. Here's a couple injury updates. They're much better from last year because of X, Y, and Z. All right, let's do this. Go win the game and then see you next week. I mean, it's basically that, but times, 30 minutes. And this week was totally different because he walks in and makes the crack about, so what are we going to talk about first? The Texas Tech thing or the Mike Tua'ua situation. And it started with Tech for a second, and then it just veered right back to the more
you
national
can thank
news
Carlos
story.
Mendez for that one.
Sounds about right.
So for anyone who, I don't know how anyone wouldn't know already, but Mike Tua'ua arrested, and Andre Pettis-Wilson, Mike Tua'ua starting defensive end, Pettis-Wilson a backup wide receiver, both arrested on charges of robbery and bodily injury. I believe is the exact charge on Monday in connection with a crime that happened off campus a couple weeks ago. The night after the Minnesota game, actually, some TCU students were walking on the street and allegedly Tua'ua and Pettis-Wilson beat up a kid and stole their case of beer, and that's the essential gist of the story.
Right.
Allegedly.
And here's the big thing, and I'm just going to the legalese of this. The reason that it's a robbery charge is because there was an assault and then something was taken.
Yes.
So if there wasn't, and that's the really the big thing that sticks out for me is this mysterious case of beer that what everybody's talking about. Because I read the police report yesterday because I did my homework and I read it, and so there's a missing case of beer after all this happens on a Friday night at a party or whatever. And someone sits down a case of beer, a scrum happens, and then the beer's gone. The police never recovered the beer. So that's all. This is the investigation that will end up happening. But the robbery charge is because something was taken by force. Otherwise, this is like I want to say simple assault, but that's what it would be. And then that may not even be exactly what it was, because if it goes the way that we're hearing things as well, Pettis Wilson got into it with 3 guys. Tua'ua tried to break up the fight, and that's where things get weird. Right. This is where things get weird.
There's a whole lot of gray area. None of us were at this party, because I'm not thinking about it at parties mostly, and also that we wouldn't be around there anyway.
So that's why it gets weird. But what made the press conference so fantastic was Patterson talked about, everything, and he mentioned how things have happened in the past, and we all know exactly what he's talking about, so we don't even need to go down that road again. But there's things that happen at every college in America when you have 18 to 22-year-old students.
Males mostly.
Right. Things are going to happen. Problems are going to arise. The point is to act swiftly, and they did. But what really surprised me was how Patterson talked about Mike Tua'ua.
Yeah, he was very defensive of him, and not even in a way that he absolved him of wrongdoing. He seemed to be very much like, oh yeah, the kid made a mistake and everything, but kept coming back to this idea that Tua'ua, and we've gotten a chance to talk to him at press conferences and things like that. I've seen him interact with fans at like Meet the Frogs and things like that, and you see what Patterson's talking about in that he's extraordinarily well liked in the community. Patterson said he's the most well liked person on our team besides Trevon Boykin in the Fort Worth community, and like service opportunities and things that he does like that. So this seems really out of character, at least from the portrait that Patterson's kind of painting, and of course he's painting it from a very kind of biased point of view. But he doesn't. Again, he says the kid screwed up, he made a mistake, which assault is a big deal. Some people would argue it's a bigger deal than a mistake. But then then Patterson kind of unprompted goes onto this takes a shot at another Big 12 member institution, another Texas school that also dealt with a player that was dealing with trouble with the law this past summer, and that's Baylor, as he's kind of finishing up his monologue about why Mike Tua'ua is the facts will come out is the thing that he kept saying over and over, and then he's like, and let me be clear, this is nowhere near as bad as what happened south of here, of course alluding to down in Waco. And at that point the internet broke, and that's where we're at right now.
Do you think that was just a calculated shot to get some eyes and ears off of Tua'ua and Pettis Wilson, to think about more about him and think about the rivalry, instead of just be like, because people were going to draw the conclusions anyway. People were going to eventually. I mean, it's a violence issue between two of the biggest rivals in college football, and I don't know. I just think maybe it's something he thought about throwing in there. Maybe I think it was. Or do you think it was total stream of consciousness?
I think it was a little bit. I think he thought about it before the press conference, and I think he intended to say it.
Yeah.
And I think that was planned. I'm not sure if he knew exactly. I'm not sure if he was expecting a question on it. He wasn't asked, by the way. He wasn't asked what do you think this is as bad as what happened at Baylor? This was unprompted. This was unprovoked. Which, to me, I mean, I love beef in college sports. I just think it makes college football.
What's for dinner.
It's what makes it more fun. So this is fine to me. I don't think it was necessary at all, but it does make the rivalry more. It adds some more personal stuff in there, because and it kind of shows you a little bit how much has been going on behind the scenes, that Gary would choose to say this unprovoked. It becomes clearer and clearer every year how much Gary Patterson and Art Briles do not get along, and how much these programs do not get along, and to the point where they're going to say stuff like this without any sort of...
They don't get along?
TCU and Baylor are not fans of each other.
Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
That they were rivals? Like Art Briles and Gary Patterson don't like each other?
Here's the exact quote. News. It's not when Patterson's talking, he gets done talking about it, and he says, "It's not even close to what happened south of here." So just so everyone knows what the quote is, it's not even close to what happened south of here. End quote.
But again, again, we're talking about this now versus we're talking about the kids that were involved in fights.
See, I don't agree with that though, because I think if he had just kind of let it be, I think people would have naturally kind of realized, oh, well, this is different, and only Baylor fans, I feel like, would have kind of latched onto that argument. Now he's drawn attention to it. Now there's going to be like the 24-hour media cycle on a national level of Gary Patterson calls out Art Briles and da-da-da, when he made the choice a few weeks ago to say, I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And because he knew that it would be a bad idea. And I think his better judgment failed him today.
It is funny that this happened 3 days after the Bielema Kingsbury issue.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, beef. It's awesome.
He left that one alone, too, because
he
somebody tried to bait him in.
Somebody asked him about that
was John Denton.
start. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Shout out John Denton.
Yeah. But, man, I don't know. I think it was mildly calculated. And,
it was absolutely calculated.
And
I just don't think it was smart.
Wow. But you just said you love beef. How is it not smart to make beef?
There's a difference between something being smart and something being really entertaining. Okay, this is great entertainment, and it adds to the layers of the rivalry. I don't think it was smart.
Here's what I think it was. It was to deflect from the situation that we were talking about.
Isn't that what I said? Rewind 2 minutes, and that's basically what I said.
That's exactly what Billy's saying. I don't think that. I think it draws more attention to it.
I think agree to disagree.
I think it focuses more attention on the team they currently have, which is what GPU all he wants to talk about is the team that's currently on the field, the team he's putting out there this Saturday against Texas Tech, and not the players that are no longer on the roster on the team at the school, whatever the situation may be with those guys.
Exactly. I agree with Billy 100%.
All right. Well, I'm in the minority here.
That's okay.
The other aspect of the press conference that I think was justified, and I'm really glad Patterson brought it up, was the fact that the initial reports of this incident, the initial reports of the arrest, and NBC5, credit to them, had been following this story for a couple weeks since it happened. But their initial report yesterday said that Mike Tu'u was arrested, and then the police were looking for a second player, and then they reported on TV that, to my understanding, that Davion Pearson, the defensive tackle, who's been out for the last 3 games, was the second player associated, and that turned out to not be true. It was Andre Pettis Wilson, and Patterson and his wife even tweeted about it yesterday. Everyone was super upset about that, and rightfully so, because you're defaming someone's name essentially. That's defamation. I guess it's slander. I don't know. They went back and they corrected the report, but Patterson said, I recommended to Davion that he sue him, and he probably has a case there.
Yeah, because you are talking about a guy that is going to get drafted in the NFL, and maybe that does anything you do now costs you a round in the draft. You make one simple mistake, it costs you a round. That could have cost you a round in the draft. A round in the draft is like $50,000 to $750,000, depending on the round you're in. I mean, you're talking about huge amounts of money for a guy that was sitting at home on his couch watching TV.
And it's even worse because he's been dealing with this concussion, with these post-concussion issues and everything like that. Just adds to what he's got to be under this incredible stress, and he's finally getting back to playing with meetings, and he's like, all right, cool, Sunday I'm finally able to take part in meetings again, and then, wait, hold up, I got arrested?
Yeah.
But I'm sitting at home?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then I like Patterson's quote. He's like, so he goes, yeah, so I called Davion. Hey, did you get arrested? He's like, no.
No, I did not.
No, Davion did not get arrested. So, I mean, it sucks, but at least they were able to clarify everything up. And then that opens a whole other can of worms that we saw Josh Dotson tweeting about today.
Yeah, Josh Dotson's, when some news site put up the story of two TCU players get arrested, and the picture beneath it in the tweet was of Mike Tua'ua celebrating after a game, but the guy standing next to him was not Andre Pettis Wilson. The guy standing next to him was Josh Dotson.
So that was a meme. That was a meme you saw.
Well, no, but someone had edited the original tweet. Someone had put that over the original tweet. That's what it was.
All right, but someone had made the point saying, "Hey, this is Tua'ua and this is Dotson. Dotson was not involved in this." What you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, but the original story had just a picture of Dotson on it.
Yes, and that was even worse.
Because you're making it sound like it's Tua'ua and Dotson were both in the photo. No, it's two separate things. In the actual photo that was ran with this story, it was just a picture of Dotson originally, which
even more wrong and has nothing to do with the story.
No. Which I mean, that seemed like a small news organization, and it seemed like they were just grabbing an AP Wire photo, just the first AP Wire photo they saw related to TCU was probably that. And shocking, neither of those guys played in the SMU game. There was a guy wearing an SMU jersey or a TCU jersey during the SMU game, and it happened to be Dotson. I mean, I think that was just a harmless mistake that happened to be made by just a news cultivating service or whatever that was. But I mean, that just shows you that people don't pay attention anymore. It's doing this recruiting thing for the last couple of years. I've noticed that a lot of places want to be first with a kid's commitment or just anything happening with their school or who they're visiting or what's going on here, what's going on there. And it seems, and it's a whole broad journalism issue as well. Being what's better to be first or to be right? I mean, overall, it's better to be right because you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings. And if you're not first, no one's watching you allegedly. But I don't know. I obviously as I went to this Schiefer School of Journalism, I was sitting here in KTCU. I sided with better to be right than first, and make sure you get your stuff together.
Yeah,
everybody.
I agree. So do your homework. If you're going to write a news story, get the facts. What's the old adage? If you don't have at least 2 sources, don't run it.
Well, here, Robert Bowler, legendary Robert Bowler here in the Schiefer School of Journalism, KTCU, and TCU 360 now. I recommend 3 sources per story. I had a young strapping reporter named Billy Wessels once. I had him call the student union 3 times to talk to 3 different people for a story once. I think it was about the lunch or something that day and what kind of food they were serving. But I had him talk to 3 different people. That's actually a thing that happened. I did call someone multiple times just to get multiple sources for a very nonchalant news story because it's part of the learning process, something you've got to do in the long run.
We got to be right. Don't be first. Because you can also be the first one to be unemployed if you make mistakes like this.
Sounds like a T-shirt we should wear often, Geoff.
I think I am going to do that. All right, next we're going to talk about Texas Tech and get happy again here on the Purple Menace podcast.
Did you know there is one alcohol-related fatality reported every 31 minutes in the United States? An average of 1 person injured approximately every 2. Drinking while under the influence of alcohol resulted in 39% of the total traffic fatalities reported last year. If you have been drinking, please act responsibly and do not get behind the wheel of a car.
This message brought to you by your friends at KTCU FM 88.7 The Choice.
Welcome back to the Purple Menace podcast. Geoff Craig, Billy Wessels, Matt Jennings. Is it just me, or when you hear The Weeknd, do you immediately think of Colby Listenby?
Yeah, they
He's
do
definitely rocking the hair.
They look pretty similar sometimes. Yeah.
So whenever I hear that song, I picture like Listenby making the jumping catch in the end zone last week for the touchdown.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And jumping up and being like, yeah.
There you go.
Then the fact he probably. I mean, you realize The Weeknd's not spelled right?
Yeah. It was definitely a mistake.
It's missing a letter, and that's
there's
why I can't get behind
there's
it.
probably a reason behind that, guys. There's probably some like deeper significance that we don't know about.
I like 2 E's, but not 3 of them.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm gonna guess that's what he sounds like. I don't know. Well, auto-tune these days, it could sound like that.
I don't know. So let's talk about Texas Tech.
This weekend.
This is something that we know about.
This weekend. Hey.
The weekend.
I see what we did there.
This weekend, they travel to Lubbock, Jones Stadium.
The land of tortillas and
notoriously loud.
Sand.
They get about 55,000 people.
Drunk and
crazy.
Belligerent.
Crazy.
Just showing up for this game.
Their mascot is the Red Raider. That sums up their fan base. There's a bunch of people with guns running around drunk, riding horses.
Whoa!
I thought I was
fired.
I thought literally
Gary was the one dropping bombs there.
I thought I was
Geoff
making.
do it.
I was saying they're all drunk. You're throwing in guns.
They are toting. They're always making the hand gestures like, I'm going to get you, sucker.
Yeah.
I mean.
That's exactly how they do it, by the way. You should be their mascot.
No.
They
stole their mascot from the Lone Ranger anyway, so there's another knock on
I thought
Texas
they stole
Tech.
him from Warner Brothers. Isn't Yosemite Sam another one of their guys?
Oh, they have him too.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
the
that guy.
Lone Ranger and Yosemite Sam.
Which is also Disney. Disney and Warner Brothers.
The Lone
No,
Ranger
no.
is Disney.
Oh,
Lone
Lone
Ranger's
Ranger's
Disney.
Disney,
Yeah. It's like freaking Dick Tracy over there. Not Dick Tracy.
Army Hammer.
Army Hammer.
Nope. Still
Armie
not what I'm
Hammer
going
was-
for.
Armie Hammer was the actor.
I am going for the
Broke.
one Jessica Rabbit. What's the movie Jessica Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes. See where my mind's at. But no, okay, Who Framed Roger Rabbit had both Disney and Warner Brother characters in it. It's like the only time it's ever happened.
What?
I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
Sure, that's a thing.
But no, I think it was like some big film thing where they wouldn't let both the Warner Brother characters and the Disney characters be in the same movie, and it just happened to happen.
It happens at Texas Tech.
Where are we at in society today?
You could have played that last segment.
We probably could have.
Yeah, that could fit every segment I'm involved in.
Yeah. So why are we talking about Warner
I don't know.
Brothers
Let's go back to
versus
Texas
Because Texas Tech has a Warner Brothers mascot and a Disney mascot, apparently. I think is the ultimate point that Billy was trying to make.
Who Framed Cliff Kingsbury? It's basically the story of this weekend.
Brett Bielema.
Brett Bielema framed him.
Cliff Kingsbury coming
Bielema
off.
Was real. By the way, that was amazing. I loved that post game interview.
Also unprovoked.
Really unprovoked. But no, we were watching the TCU SMU game, and then suddenly Twitter exploded with that. And all as the kids say, savage. Is that what Cliff Kingsbury is? "Quote unquote savage" these days. But that's the only way to describe it. That was fire, as Jake Trotter is tweeting about. Yeah, we're scrolling through Twitter right now. But no, it's insane. I loved it. I love sticking to the SEC as much as possible and proving that you're worth what you're doing, and the Big 12 is legit, and Tech I think is legit this year. I'm legitimately worried about this weekend.
I am too.
Yeah, and I legitimately think they're building a decent program over there.
Out of all the teams that we're going to play this year, I'm actually most worried about this game because it's the first road game, and it is not fun to play there. It is not, and TCU has not performed historically under Patterson. They have not done well in Lubbock.
That's what happened last time back in 2013. They go there. I think it was 2-1, or no, they were 1-1 at the time. They had just come off a win over Southeastern Louisiana. Casey Paul had just gotten hurt. It was Boykin's first start of the season, and Boykin looked bad. And it was a weird game too. It was a night game.
Brandon Carter.
The blackout.
Was the Thursday night game.
Yeah, and there were flags everywhere. There was a fox on the field. The team was wearing gray, but the game was a blackout. It was super weird. Devontae Fields got injured in that game. Just a lot of weird stuff going on. And that's what happens in Lubbock. Good for them it's not a night game because the mojo gets even more there. I'm not a superstitious person, but it's real, okay? The Lubbock
fans get drunker
real.
later in the day. It just makes sense. Their guns get more empty as it gets later. I don't know what that means.
But I will say I'm cautiously optimistic about this game, if for no other reason than maybe at some point the odds are that you're gonna get through a whole game healthy defensively, and so give those guys who looked so bad, Corey O'Malley and Torrance Mosley, a week ago, give them a week to practice, and they're basically going against the offense that they play every day in practice. They obviously don't go first team against first team all the time, but they're not going to see anything they haven't seen before with playing Texas Tech, and I think that bodes well for them.
And going into this game, I'm optimistic that this team can win any game in a shootout. This TCU offense has shown that if we can't get stops on defense, we can go get 7 when we need to. SMU made it 30. It was 42-37, and then TCU reeled off 14 straight. They can get it done, and so even going into a hostile environment like Lubbock, if this thing is a shootout like it was 2 years ago here, where we went 3 overtimes, and Boykin's, what was that, his first or second career start against Texas Tech?
Yeah,
that
second career start. He had just come off that game against Baylor on the road.
The shootouts, we can hang and we can win with this team. So I'm optimistic. We'll see what happens. Patrick Mahomes is the real deal in Tech.
He's been really good for them over there. He
is really good.
Took over the starting role late in the year last year, led them on a crazy comeback against Baylor. Probably should have won that game. And then leads into a 3-0 record this year. Leads into a tough road win over Arkansas, like we talked about earlier. And they look good so far. They really, really do. I think now we can talk about how we think maybe Arkansas was a little overrated to start the year. But again, still going on the road to beat that team, a tough physical team like that. I was seriously impressed by it for sure.
Yeah, and Tech has got their hands full the next 2 weeks. Because they have TCU and then Baylor.
I just looked at it. Yeah, I think there was a stat last year where teams that played TCU were and the Big 12 teams were like
0-13 or something.
I think everyone that played TCU lost the next week.
Yeah, because they physically battered
They were
around.
just straight destroyed. And I mean, it looks like the change this week either when you play Baylor the week after, another top team, and they're playing that at Cowboy Stadium again. But yeah, I mean, the big question I think is going to be is as much as Tech's offense is going to be solid. You know what you're getting from Tech's offense. You know what you're getting from TCU's offense. It's how can Tech's defense stop it? We don't know what TCU's defense is going to be exactly. We've got a good idea. We've got a better idea of what these second and third string guys that TCU's going to have to play are. But how does that rate compare to what Tech's got? I mean, Tech's improved on both sides of the ball. Obviously, the defense looks better, but I mean, they still give it the 45 to Sam Houston State. I mean, at home, they can give up points.
I think if you look at the two defenses, I think they're very similar, except to me, just looking at it, Tech looks like they take more chances. They create more turnovers, but in turn, they give up more big plays.
Yeah, they got a bunch of kindreds, is what you're saying?
Yeah. The game against SMU, fun fact, the game against SMU on Saturday was ended TCU's, I don't know how many game-long streak. 27 game-long streak of forcing a turnover. It was the first time they hadn't done that in 2 seasons.
27 games.
And which that's usually like TCU's MO. That they're pretty good at forcing turnovers and getting good position for that explosive offense. I think they'll do that at least once, maybe a couple times this coming week, and that could be the difference in the game.
But do you think that maybe they didn't force turnover because there was just new bodies here, just trying to keep from getting burnt like toast?
I think it was partially that. And I think it was also they didn't really get after Matt Davis till late in that game because they were trying to keep him in the pocket and not let him scramble, and so that's part of it. I'll get Geoff's game plan up later this week, and I'll have more of these juicy Tech nuggets because I have built the blueprint.
Juicy Tech nuggets might be the grossest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Know what comes out of Lubbock. It just sounds real gross.
Yeah, well, so that's going to wrap up Texas Tech. That game is at 3:30 on Saturday in Lubbock. If you want to go, I mean, have fun with that. It's only like a 7-hour
It's so
bus
far
ride.
away, and it's still in the state of Texas.
Or you can tweet me at Geoffrey, Geoff.
You're way too early for the plug,
_Craig. And maybe we can get together somewhere and we can and have a TCU Tech watching party.
I mean, we could host one. Can you invite everyone to your house for this?
We'll see how many responses we get from this, and we'll see where we need to have it. I have a couple of places. I have a couple of other establishments that we may be able to.
Oh, look at this guy owning several houses.
That we could.
My bad.
Oh,
no, I was on Geoff
I didn't
Craig
say they
money.
were houses. They may be barns. They may be car dealerships. I'm just saying I've got some connections here and there at some things. So yeah, tweet at me or at TCU_rivals and say, hey, where's the watching party at?
He's got penthouses on the both Atlantic coast and the Pacific coast. He calls it pH balance. That is a Childish Gambino line. I've been trying to work into a conversation for a while. I'm pretty excited it just came in.
That is so good, and that is going to wrap up our Texas Tech segment because let's end on a high note. Coming up next, we're going to talk everybody's favorite segment. It's prediction time. How outrageous is Fanboat Willie going to get this week? Is it going to be Fanboat Willie?
I don't know. Fanboat Willie made an appearance earlier in the show. You don't want to kill the character off too quick.
No, I want predictions to be Fanboat Willie's predictions from now on. All right, coming up next, our predictions and last week's champion right here on the Purple Menace podcast.
There are many reasons for your family to have a plan in the event of a terrorist attack or other emergency, and no reason not to. Take time to talk to your family about what you'll do. Choose an out-of-town contact to call. Decide who will pick up the kids and determine a meeting place. Everyone should have a plan. For more information, visit www.ready.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and your friends at KTCU.
Welcome back to the Purple Menace podcast. Geoff Craig, Billy Wessels, Matt Jennings, talking that TCU stuff. It's time for some predictions. Now, last week, I'm going to declare this a three-way tie because I hit the score for TCU right on the money at 56. Matt predicted Josh Doxson to have 5 catches, which he did. He was a little off on the yardage, but
a little bit.
It's okay to
like
be
50
a little
yards.
60. Okay to be under. And then Billy, you were the closest on total points scored.
Yeah.
But if we're playing Price is Right rules, you would have busted.
Well, see, that's why I think the winner should probably be Matt. I think if
just
you
because
had,
he picked
if you
player.
Because I think the player's the hardest thing to pick because you can pick the winner of the game, whatever, and you just throw a bunch of numbers in the air. You're going to get close to the score.
All right, it's decided. Matt Jennings is the winner.
Yes, I give it to Matt this week.
That means so much to me.
I know it does.
You win. You are the winner. You win the internet.
Wow!
Congratulations.
You win the internet. You've been watching way too much at midnight.
Congratulations to you.
Are you looking for music to play right now?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, I noticed you get it further away from the mic.
I missed it.
So I can keep talking for a little bit if you'd like me just to filibust while you're...
No, let's just jump right into this.
Sounds like a good idea. Thank goodness.
All right, TCU on the road in Lubbock against Texas Tech. Who wants to go first on this one?
Champ goes first.
Same format as every week. Final score, player of the game.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go... See, I've got a weird feeling that this is going to be a lower scoring game than people think. You know, our friend, my friend JD Moore tweeted out like during the game last week that the line for this week's game was going to open up at 80, and that was going to be like or the over under was going to be 80, and it was going to be way too low. I actually think that it's going to be a low-scoring game as much as this team. I'm going to say 38-34.
Your air quotes for low scoring. Nobody can see those, Matt.
I know. The medium, the restrictions of the medium. No, I say 38-34. TCU does pull out a win in a close one. Ultimately, I think having a veteran offense on the road helps out TCU and helps them kind of overcome some struggles. I just find it really hard to trust Texas Tech's defense to make big stops when they need to. I think TCU's defense comes through with a turnover or two. That'll probably be the difference in the game. For a player of the game, you know what? I'm gonna go with Nick Orr. I'm going to go with the guy who's been maybe the most consistent player on defense for the first 3 weeks of the season. Playing at free safety this week, I think he's going to – I'll pick him to grab an interception, maybe like 4 tackles, and that interception is going to be like at a big moment in the game that really shifts momentum in TCU's favor.
All right, Fanboat Willie.
I'm not going to do the voice.
Okay,
I'm going to spare everyone
Billy
the voice.
Wessels.
It's just that guy again. So I would go contrary to that. I think it's like the highest scoring game of all time. I just think that Tech's rolling too hot right now. I think TCU's doing a lot of good things on offense. I just don't see many stops in this game. I could see maybe a couple turnovers, but I don't see a whole lot of 3 and outs or 4 and outs. Or I don't see many punts. I think it's a record low total net yardage punt day. So I'm not going to take Ethan Perry for my player of the game as much as I want to. I will say TCU wins 68-62. I think it's just an absolute shootout out there. I'm scared, but I think it could be something like TCU gets up 68 to like 50, something like that, and then Tech scores late to make it look respectable, and maybe TCU's been ahead by 2 scores the entire game. I don't know. But in a game like that, you've got to go. You've got to go. This is a huge Boykin game. I mean, since I'm picking absurd, I can just go ahead and be absurd. Why not? Let's see, 27 for 41 pass attempts for 427 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then 57 rushing yards on 7 carries for 2 more scores.
Okay, that's a very specific.
It's really specific.
I like how specific you're getting.
Yep,
that's good. I'm also going to stick offense. I'm going to take TCU in this one. 42-38. It's going to be way closer than we want it to be, and because it's a road game and not a lot of us are going, we're going to be sitting on our couches or at wherever we meet up for our watch party. Mm-hmm. None of us are going to have fingernails left, and it's going to be close. 42-38. TCU will win. My player of the game is going to be Aaron Green.
I knew you were going to go that way
because I think he ran really well last week, and it was the second half he ran a lot better. I think that continues this week. You could even say my players of the game is the offensive line because I think that's really what it's going to be. But I think Aaron Green is going to be a 18 carry, 167 yards, 2 touchdown day for Aaron Green. So that's going to do it. Predictions. Let us know your predictions. Billy, last week I posted the predictions. The week before you did them. So check for my Twitter or your Twitter or the Purple Menace. Purple Menace is at TCU_Rivals. Billy, your Twitter.
At Billy Wessels.
Matt.
Really original.
At Matt A. Jennings.
And I'm at Jeffrey, Geoffrey _CRAIG. We'll all post our predictions, our players of the games, the day of, so everybody can see those. You can chuckle at some of them. You can say, man,
Mostly
you guys are crazy. But when we're right, I think you should send us a high five emoji or something.
Ooh,
to let us know.
I like the clap one where it's like the hands are like this.
Yeah,
like they're making the U. I think it's my favorite emoji.
Send us the clap one when you think we're doing good.
Send us the clap when we're doing good. Okay. And we are playing in Lubbock after all. I've heard there's something out there.
Oh my goodness.
Raiders.
I'm just letting
my stream of consciousness
letting his mic just take it down a little bit.
Fade it down. Just fade
just
it
don't
on
let him finish
down.
his sentence.
That's just.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the last episode of Purple Menace Podcast.
No, it'll be good, and hopefully they'll keep bringing us back.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
We'll be back next Tuesday, recapping Texas Tech. Hopefully we're not talking about injuries. Check out...
Or off the field issues.
That's true. Yes. If you want to know more about recruiting, because we didn't cover that this week because of the off the field issues, purplemenace.com. There's also Geoff's game plan on there every week, and then there's always fantastic stuff that Billy and Matt write about every week. I just get to do the one thing.
You can do more if you want to do more. I just don't want to whip you too hard.
There's so many drops in this episode.
Yep, you're
so
welcome.
many good ones. All right. We'll be back next Tuesday. Yeah. There goes Purple Haze. So, we're out. Bye.